Okay, so we're waiting for Donna to come on board. There we go. We have Donna on
Hello.
board. Hello. So I was just saying that we don't really focus on the other aspects of illness alongside lipedema. So Donna's now joined us. So I'm gonna leave it with Donna. I'm gonna let Donna tell you. Let Donna tell you who she is and why she's on here with me tonight doing this live.
Hi guys. Yeah, thank you for having me on. It's quite exciting. I'm really excited by this because my whole last 8-10 weeks since we connected have just been a bit of started off a roller coaster, but now it's like evened off a bit. It's
Yeah.
really gone a bit smoother since we first connected. But so I'm a health and wellbeing personal trainer, and I've been a personal trainer for over 10 years. I mainly got into the industry just through the love of exercise. I've exercised since I was a teenager, mainly for weight loss. It was all about weight loss. That was the main focus, to be not so much fitter, but to be slimmer originally. And then I reached the goal where I was kind of wanted to be, and then it turned to fitness, and I just wanted to get really, really fit. So I was inspired by lots of people on my own journey, so I become a personal trainer, and then just helped other women and men as well to kind of live a healthy lifestyle, lose weight. And then things kind of evolved in my career to be more, like I say, more focused on overall health than definitely the last few years. I've gone away from the whole weight loss side of things, and it is more sustainable living and trying to be happier in your body and accepting your body as it is. And then we connected because I heard you on a podcast because I got diagnosed with lipedema, and I was just like, I never heard of this, and I've had it like all my life ever since all those years ago when I was battling, every single diet, every single type of exercise, endless hours of cardio. Nothing was changing, nothing was, everything I was doing. Then I reached a point of burnout. And then when I heard your podcast, I was like, oh my God. And then we were like so close. I think we're like 15, 20 miles away, aren't we? In distance. And I was just like, how is this? Like, yeah, so it was really crazy journey. And then when we were speaking, not only have we got that condition, you were saying about your fibro, I was saying about the CFS, and it was just mind-blowing that everything we've been through at life like ties into one thing.
I think for me the epiphany has been this weekend with what happened to my body, which when we say burnout, I don't think a lot of people understand what burnout means. And I certainly didn't until Saturday, until that kind of imploded. And I was like, okay, that's why that's happened, because I'm now talking to you and I need to understand more about it. So once again, I feel like it's happening to me, or happened to me, for me to understand you more. So I got the diagnosis of vibro and chronic fatigue syndrome in 2016. But like I said to you when we spoke, I feel like I may have been a little bit naive to the point of chronic fatigue syndrome, because I was so wrapped up with what everybody was telling me about fibromyalgia, and this was what was going on in my body. And it wasn't till this weekend, having gone back to work, having not been at work for 3.5 months, and being around here, even though I've been training and going out for a walk, I'm coming home and I'm sitting down and I'm doing, I'm not doing as much as I was back then. And I think my body's taken that toll. And then Saturday, it just went bang, literally in my legs. And then I realized, okay, there's got to be more to this than I originally thought.
Yeah, definitely.
And so by getting to know you, I kind of feel like I now have a somewhat better understanding. I'm still struggling. I can feel that cloud of tiredness and fatigue and pain over me 24/7, and I don't like it. Like, it's not something that I'm used to at all. but I'm getting through that. And so you've been on this recovery of
Mhm.
chronic fatigue syndrome. So maybe you want to talk to the audience about how you came to be diagnosed and how you've gone through figuring out different ways of treating it.
Yeah, so my kind of background of where I got to the point that I just crashed and burned is it was around about my 30th. I wanted to, like, you know, look amazing. I was training about 3 hours a day. So I'd go to the gym in the morning, do fasted cardio. Then I would do my weights in the afternoon, eating minimal, nowhere near enough food, nowhere near enough calories, because I was kind of in the zone. You know, I had a 12-week plan. I was literally like bodybuilder split, eating minimal. And it got to the point that I was like so wrapped up in it. It didn't matter how rubbish I felt, I stuck to the plan because we're determined people, you know, we don't give
Yeah, yeah.
up. And I was having like night sweats, my muscles would ache. I would have to teach my classes sat on the floor rather than being stood up, so I would just go really dizzy, lightheaded, muscle spasms. And then I was like, well, I didn't really put two and two together because throughout my 20s, I could go out on a 3 hour run and then do a boxercise class in the afternoon. So all of a sudden, my body was like, hang on a minute, this, you know, you need to slow down. But my mind was just overriding that. And I just kept going and going and going. And then it got to the point I was having anxiety attacks and panic attacks, like constantly. I would be working and my heart would just be racing. And then I would feel like when my panic attack ended, if anyone suffers with them, you feel like you would actually run a marathon because you're just that of energy. So that's like similar to what you went through with your body at the weekend.
Yeah.
It was screaming at you in a way that
I've had panic attack. I mean, I've had panic attacks in the past, and I've gone through PTSD, but I can honestly say nothing has felt like it did at the weekend. I was phoning people at 5 a.m. because I was in that much pain. Because I live by myself, I didn't know what to do next. The muscle popped in my left calf. That calf has got lymphedema in it. And obviously I've got lipedema, and I just was like, what the hell is this? And how has this happened? And then it wasn't until I spoke to an expert who turned around to me and said to me, Karen, you went back to work, you've done X, Y, and Z, you've been up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and your brain is racing and you're trying to please everybody else and you're trying to make everything happen. And my body just at the weekend just literally was overridden by my brain and everything else, and it just I couldn't control what was going to happen next. So where I'm quite controlling within my body and what I do, I could not control that situation at all.
Yeah, and that's similar with the heart thing, the palpitations. It's just like, oh. So it got to a day where I was in Tesco's and it was such a bad panic attack. I just had to put my stuff and just leave and then I thought, this is affecting my life now. You know, I need to. So I went to the doctors. I'd been to the doctors on and off about like the night sweats. It was like, you know, all the perimenopausal symptoms. It was literally ticking those off, the brain fog. But then when I look back, I was overtraining. I just was not eating enough food. And then like, you know, my hormonal cycles all over the place. And it's just like my body needed the energy. But because I know I had lymphedema, I was always fighting to be in a smaller body. And that, you know, there's such a link, what I'm finding out, between chronic fatigue, fibro and that, because I think we just beat ourselves up.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
because 100% do. And that's why I think it's important coming from us in this discussion tonight, because this is two very fit we are very fit girls. We work, we train, we do what we can. I have mobility issues. I know you have issues within your body with obviously chronic fatigue and with the lipedema, but you're constantly online. I'm seeing you online all the time. You've got your online PT going. I'm doing what I'm doing in clinic and then out of clinic online work. I've been asked today to go and see a new gym and everything else, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's do that. And then I get home and I'm like, oh my God, I can't. Because you realize that you need to take that time, but your body wants to be like what you see of everybody else.
Yeah.
That, oh no, yeah, I can do this, don't worry, I can do this, I can do that. And but the energy is just not there, and you're depleted, and you don't have the pickup, and you don't have the get up and go. And you realize at that point where you're really strong, actually, I have illnesses, and it's okay if I stop, and it's okay if I rest, and it's okay if I go and take a nap.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what I had to do. So I had to rewire a lot. But there was one day, one doctor I went to, she was amazing. She was like, have you heard of CFS? And I said, yes. She said, I'm going to send you to some help on the NHS. So I went to like a weekly clinic that I was just working like in a group environment. But so much of it I knew already, because that's the type of person I am. I'm a researcher. I'm into health and well-being. So I kind of like went there. It did help. The main thing for me was the pacing and the kind of changing your energy. So I would do an online client. I would then wait 10 minutes, because my clients are like 45, 50 minutes. Then I'll do the next client. Or this is in COVID. Pre-COVID, it was driving to people's houses and lugging kit in and out. So we're just talking about the last 12 months, which has been my recovery. And then it got to a point I was still burning after like 3-hour blocks. And I was just like, that's it, I'm done for the day. But obviously I didn't really share that on social media, because I don't know if, it's that fine balance, isn't it? If I should share it, if I shouldn't. So anyway, I was chatting to the CFS people on the NHS, a bit of a mouthful. And she said, right, Donna, what you should do is you need to do your client, take an hour break, do your other client, take an hour break, and I was just thinking, I can't do that. I need to be doing them. And she was like, look, trust me, you need that downtime in between to just sit on the sofa, have your breakfast slowly, or or have your lunch slowly. So then I did take that on board. It was hard, but it turned out that after those 3 hours, which was obviously over half of the day, I actually had energy in the afternoon to go for a walk or do a bit of exercise or go and see a friend, whatever, for example, you could do. So I actually had the energy to do it, but I had to learn to really pace. So every time even now, I have to pace. So I still work part-time, and if I do something energetic, I know that's going to take up like so many units. I called it as my energy. I like to give myself 15 units of energy a day, and then I space them out throughout the day. Now, like with us last week, where things were going back to normal, and yourself got things going back to normal, you probably say you had 15 of like, the pacing spoons, they're called in CFS language. Say you had 15, you were probably using 35 of those a day.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah.
And
that's what I was doing.
I was looking at the difference between the two. I can see I'm still struggling to pull myself out of this. My
eye goes funny when I have like a thingy. It really, like, I've had a long day on screen today. I should have my glasses on, but you can see it's really strange. I don't know.
I can see that I'm dog tired, and that I'm struggling to pull myself back from what happened at the weekend. But it's so telling, and I know that I have to go through this for a reason yet again. And I'm learning, like a lot of people like to call me like the expert and everything else, but I'm not, because I'm learning from people like yourself how to deal with certain situations. Like for instance, you've brought to my attention a lot of hormone work. I was already getting to that point because of age and everything else, but then you've been bringing to my attention quite a lot of hormone work within your own work. And then obviously I've been looking at premenopause, perimenopause and menopause, and just how, because the thing is, I have a lot of different variant of clients, and a lot of my clients are going through different stages of hormone change. And what my work is tending to do is it is keeping at bay any of the symptoms of perimenopause and menopause, which is fantastic. In lockdowns, they've been getting those symptoms back, but now they're coming back. After the first week, those symptoms are disappearing again. So it's clearly an imbalance within the hormones. And once you balance those hormones out, there is an opportunity for change, which you will go through those periods in time, but not necessarily as badly as we first think we can go through them, and maybe not to exacerbate lipedema. That's what I'm working on, making sure that that doesn't happen. I haven't gone through all of this to get to this point, to then at the last hurdle, going into another hormone change, it changes yet again. I'm trying to prove that theory, and I know you're trying to do the same thing through nutrition, and
mainly movement as well.
Yeah, your PT work. So I know you do a lot of yoga, don't you?
Yeah, so that's mainly been throughout lockdown over the last year. I have been doing it most days, and it's when I don't do it for 2 days in a row, my body is so achy. You know, my feet, the whole soles of my feet kind of cramp up, achy. I have to massage my feet every night, and obviously you know all about that. And like my calf muscles will swell, my hips will ache, you know, and my like arms just feel heavy. So I have to, that's a non-negotiable, I have to do my stretching. Try and do it most days. If you know, if I miss it, then I'll do a longer sort of session the following day. So in regards to the pacing, now I probably exercise 1.5 hours a week in like I can only still do half an hour workouts. If I go like doing like kettlebell stuff, lunges, squats, I can't really get my heart rate over 145, 150 beats per minute, because I will crash the following few days. So that's how I manage it. Yeah. So like, say I'm at home, I've got my skipping rope, I do like a little bit of skipping, like, I don't know, 45 seconds. That's enough. My heart rate will go up to about 138, 140, and then I stop. Then I'll do some floor work so it'll come down. But I found that out because when I was running, like back in the day, I don't run anymore because of this reason. I would go out, have a really good run, feel absolutely amazing, you know, and my heart rate would be up there for a long amount of time. But I would then be in bed kind of like on the sofa in bed in between clients for 3 days after I went for a half an hour run. So that's how I have to manage it now. So I do home workouts. I've got my little like weights in the corner there. And yeah, 30 minutes. I'm fine with that. In between the 3 sessions a week that I do, and they're full body sessions because it's quite lightweight compared to what I used to do. In between that, I do the yoga fitness and I do my walking.
Okay.
Yes, but I really have to manage
that. Strength and conditioning. That's where my heart is, with strength and conditioning.
And I think we need that for our body type.
This is one of the things. So when I put the post out, I said we're going to be talking about all kinds of strength, from muscles to mindset. So I feel like I have osteoarthritis, and I have hypermobility, and I've got EDS. So I know that I have to have a strong body, but I also need to have a strong body in vibro, chronic fatigue, lipedema, lymphedema, and Derkums. All of it goes full circle. You need to have a strong body. I remember going to my rheumatologist, and he said to me, Karen, you have got to build your quads to hold your knees. Now, that was a challenge that I didn't think I would, but my legs are solid with a layer of lipedema, which I know you will understand. So you have that
annoying, isn't it?
It is. You have that solid leg, and you can feel the muscle and everything else. And there are different angles of pictures that I can definitely see muscle, but you have that solid layer of lipedema that just literally layers on the top. And I'd say it's probably that thick. And because I'm now depleting down to pretty much no natural fat, because lipedema is now in my neck and in my jaw. And
I've watched your facial things as well. Yeah.
And so when we get off of here, I'm going to do that because I'm puffy, and I know that's because I'm tired.
Mm.
And it's these are the reality and the reactions to all of these illnesses that come into our lives. And like I said, coming from two very fit girls who are young, and we're talking about these things, we're bringing it to the table that people can actually understand why these things are happening to them. I'm inundated with messages about why this is happening, how this is happening. Do I need to do this? Can this help? There's all sorts of different questions, and I think it's taking us out there to bring all of these things to light, and answer the questions that are being asked. So if anybody's on here now who wants to ask a question, go ahead and ask a question, because the box is open. But I feel that over time there will be more answers to these things, and I think the more we create a community to help in all aspects of this. I now feel like the years that I've been doing things for just lipedema and lymphedema, it needs to be I need to broaden the horizon of being more knowledgeable in all those aspects of illness.
Mm.
So I've been
it's the emotional impact of stuff as well. So yeah. The majority of my symptoms are not necessarily physical, it's emotional. Emotional stuff, emotional stuff from the past that and then especially when I got diagnosed, I've done a video on this on my Instagram, and it was all these things that people have like commented about my body and the way it looks. So I wrote them all down, and I kind of just had to like get rid of them. I had to write them down, read them out, and I just burnt a bit of paper. But on the flip side of the bit of paper, I wrote down all like good qualities that have got nothing to do with my body.
So that's your strength in your mindset. That's you changing things. So that's the strength. We've got the strength in muscle, but we've got the strength in mindset. And certainly for me, I've had to remove anything and all toxic out of my life to be able to move forward and take control of how I'm feeling about myself and how I'm feeling about my environment. Like everything has had to come full circle, because I was somebody who would put themselves down 24/7.
Definitely.
And I would criticize myself,
Body
but I was
dysmorphia.
criticizing myself because others were criticizing me. So it wasn't necessarily because I was criticizing myself for me. It was what was going on here that was going in here, and I was believing what that was telling me. And so I then criticized myself 24/7. Why wasn't I good enough? Why wasn't I thin enough? Why wasn't I this? Why wasn't I that? Why wasn't I one of the pretty girls? Why did I have this condition? How did this happen to me? Like,
why can't I eat all the pizza and cake?
You could go on for hours.
I know, but it's even like just general stress, like silly things in life, like especially with the CFS, it's like the adrenaline in our body will just pump and pump and pump. And I done a this week in IGTV with breathwork lady Maxine, who massively helped me with some restorative yoga. And it's the type of yoga where you just lay on the floor and breathe and stay in a position for 15 minutes, but you stay on the whole class for 75 minutes. So every 15 minutes you move but lay. So this time last year, I was going through quite like a stressful time in my personal life, and Maxine really helped me. I'd be on my dining room floor and I'd have blankets on me, eye mask, candles all around, and my other half thought I was just going crazy. Like, but I was like, the release I had from the stress and the anxiety. Some sessions I would feel great and absolutely fine. I remember one session I just cried, like proper sobbed afterwards, because it was that release of energy. But I woke up the next day absolutely fine, like my back pain went, you know. And I find that general stress with other lifestyle stuff, so if we do too much, or if I know we don't really want to delve too much into nutrition because that's a different subject, but if we can, if my nutrition or my diet's not you know, too
I
much
do
salt and
think that
stuff.
nutrition is a massive part of this, though,
Yes.
and I do think that the healthier we are in body. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm saying you have to do X, Y, and Z diet. I'm just saying you have to be healthy. I've
Yeah.
said this from the moment, like I've said this for the last 2 years. I like to be able to deal with these illnesses. You have to have a healthy body. I don't care
Mm.
what size you are. I don't.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at you being healthy. And if the
Yeah.
healthier you are, the better the outcome and result of what you're going through.
And especially with the lipedema and the CFS and the fibro, if our cortisol levels are so high and our
Mm-hmm.
body's running on adrenaline, it's pumping it out, it's just sending us into a nervous state. And
Yeah,
then
of
our
course.
body is going to be stressed and it's going to inflame. So I know that my legs are a hell of a lot worse visibly and how they feel physically if, like, even things like sleep or alcohol, like, you know, silly things, as well as just emotional thoughts and stuff we hold on from the past, it can just cause the body just to kind
Any
of like
kind of
fight or
stress can
flight.
cause the body to inflame. So the
Yeah.
more, like, and I say this to clients all the time, the more you stress about these illnesses, the worse they're going to get, but they're not going to progress. All you're doing is you're inflaming, and eventually that inflammation will go away. You're inflaming the body and it will die down. But the more you stress about it, the more you're bringing that on. The more that causes your brain to take over, it causes your body to break down, and so it doesn't give you any sort of guidance whatsoever. But
Yeah.
that goes the same with food, different foods. Like you've just brought up alcohol. A lot of things that are associated with alcohol are sugar in
Yes.
alcohol. That's the reason why we inflame. That's the reason why the fat cells fill with fluid, and that's why we suffer badly for the next couple of days, for instance. But then if you go to your monthly, the week leading up, your body, my body, your body, and a normal girl's body, let's face it, we go into that port of call where our hormones are going to start taking over. But for us, we have that fluid build to. That's why a lot of people don't understand when we say that we're having issues. When we say we're having issues with our monthly cycle, it can be a hell of a lot worse. One of the
Mm.
things that I've been looking at over this last 24 hours is CFS and your monthly, and the extreme severity of PMS pain. Now,
Mm.
I've been going through that now for months, to the point where every month I'm feeling sick, and I didn't realize why. So I've been doing all the research that I've been doing, and I came with pre-menopause before perimenopause, going into menopause. But now this makes even more sense,
Mm.
that it is actually a symptom of CFS.
Yeah, because the body inflames naturally for
Yeah.
any woman, like 7 to 5 days before our menstrual cycle.
Yes.
And we also burn more energy, so we need more food. So for anyone looking to diet, the week before your period is not a good time because you
No.
need, well, not saying that, but you need a balanced diet. But you can get away with eating up to like 18% more calories. So 100, 150 calories a day, you can have more. But the week before you come on, it's the best time to take time off of high intensity training.
Right.
So go for the long walks, do the mobility work, sit on the sofa, watch a film, you know, but have control of the food, because the more sugar you eat that week before, it's going to cause more of an imbalance, because and with the sugar levels going up and
It's
down
your
as well.
carbs and your sugars and your salts. Like the more you go crazy in that week leading up, I've certainly noticed that if you do that, then it literally takes over the next week,
Mm.
and you suffer worse with your monthly than, for instance, you did the month before. But all of this is trial and error, and trying to
Yeah.
find that balance of how you can live your life with these illnesses. And there's not enough information. So for me, there's not enough information lymphatic side of things, but there's also not enough information out there that gives off the help and guidance towards these autoimmune illnesses that one, like I've said, it's all become quite clear to me, but very in the last like few days.
And with the CFS stuff, there's lots of people who have got CFS and like ME, which is quite bad. And obviously I'd probably say I'm like 80% recovered. I still have to manage a lot of like my lifestyle. But I know occasionally I'll get the like burnout and I'll get the crash, but it's mainly comes from anything emotional in my life. But when it comes to the movement in the CFS world, ME world, there's people who are going yes for movement, like obviously gentle and pace it like what I am, and there's other people saying stay away from it, it's the worst thing you can do. From my personal experience,
that's the same thing within the lymphatic, like, so there's all sorts of different advices that are given out by different people, but I think the people that can give the best advice are the ones that are going through it.
Yeah, so for me, if I was to sit, rest, be in bed, be on the sofa, like I had COVID, so I had to isolate for a couple of weeks, and
how did that
my
feel?
body, it was okay.
You did like, okay.
I don't want to say, yeah, I was all right. The worst thing for me was I lost my taste for 5 weeks. It was awful.
but on terms of taking you down to like burnout level, did that happen?
I thought I was having an ME flare up.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of my clients that have had COVID have said it felt to them like it was vibro, and they've got vibro.
Yeah. So the muscle aches, the like real bad tiredness, fatigue, they're just not feeling right. Glands are up, which I know when if I like might seem normal in day-to-day life, but if my glands are up, I know I need to take a day off.
Yeah.
Because that's a warning sign, that is. Yeah. But when I was resting, whenever I do rest, my body seizes up. I ache more. So even like the walks or even the light movement, like the yoga fit style I do for like my clients, for myself, it's still body weight stuff. It's still like the leg raises, it's still your bridges, there's some planks. So it's still strength building, but it's all body weight strength.
Mm-hmm.
But if I leave it too long, I actually feel worse. So even just 20 minutes or something, some days I can feel so much better. And
if I have a rest day and I do nothing, the following day I really struggle.
Yeah.
Like, so even I feel like I need to do something just to make sure that I don't struggle the following day. Do you, when you wake up in the morning, do you have stiff joints?
No.
Okay, so I do.
Yeah, and that's I think a fibro thing, possibly. Yeah. But no, I've got a dodgy hip, but other than that, they're okay. Obviously knees crunch and click and grind.
Knees crunch. I tell you, knees, they are the bane of my freaking life, I swear to God. But my knee, I have a real problem with it because I can hear it crunching and clicking, and that can be a real like feeling to you because you don't want to push you feel like you don't want to push it because you think something's bad. And I've spoken to my physio and she said no, there's air or there's inflammation trapped in there, and there's nowhere for it to go, so you're trying to break it down. And when I've had treatment around my knee and on my knee, it's basically pulling back the lipedema from that area, if you like.
Right.
Because it restricts my mobility, so my mobility gets restricted, and every 4 weeks, like into the 3rd to the 4th week, I kind of get that restriction again, and then I'll go into physio. They do what they need to do. It's always on the IT band as well. Like the IT band just starts getting it stops being stretched, it goes like hard, and so they're doing what they can do. But it's a constant. It's an absolute constant.
And you know what? If we had to list the daily things we do, someone who doesn't do anything would look at that and it would be frightening. Because what we've done over the last sort of years, when having these sort of conditions, being in the wellness industry, we've just put small snippets into our lifestyle every single day, and it just becomes a habit. And we don't really think of it. But it is a lot you've got to manage. And there are some days, like I think it was last Sunday, yeah, because I had a bit of sort of emotional weekend this weekend just gone. So last Sunday I got up, chilled out on the sofa, and sorry, my cat's been annoying. Yeah, just chilled out on the
Wants to come
sofa,
on
and
film.
he does, doesn't he? And then my other half was just like, it was like 10, half 10. He was like, "You've been out for your walk yet?" And I was like, "No, because I need this morning to do
Is your
nothing."
other half, is he fitness?
No.
Okay. So
Used to play football and into the gym like when we first got together, but he's not into fitness that much now. No.
does he go out with you?
No.
Oh, okay. Straight answer. Okay.
He plays the guitar, so when I'm out the house, he can just like play his music while I go for my walk, and he hasn't got to worry about me. I'm just gonna grab my cat because he's being annoying.
He wants to come on camera again.
He's a pest. I was doing some squats this morning with
I
him.
saw your oh look. I saw your movement,
Real, yeah.
your little reel that you did with him. And I just thought, oh my word, you're now bringing the cat into your fitness.
He joins in on my PT classes this morning with my client. I was there doing like squat and shoulder press with him.
Oh, well, I think it's nice as well, like when you've got an animal, I think that genuinely helps within these illnesses as well. I have not got time. See, I'm just about to do it. I don't have time to have a pet. I just don't.
I want to get a dog one day, but yeah, we'll see about that one.
One day that would be something that would be lovely, but right now, where my business is like, where it's had to close, open, close, open, close, open, I'm building it back, and so I need to be there 24/7 or on here 24/7 or out, and I just haven't got the time to do that.
You need to get your little spoons together. So there's a lady who I've done a lovely little chat with about CFS called Raylan. She's from California or somewhere in America, and she's got a really good video about pacing, and she puts like tokens in a pot. So she's got or takes them out the pot, one or the other. She's got these tokens out, like 12 or 15 of them, and she allocates her energy each day by doing that.
So I do pace between my clients. Like I'm not going one client, next client, this client.
But general life, it might not even be work. It might just be in general life. You know, it might just be, because I was the same. I would never sit down and be out the door and then doing this, doing that. And when we were in lockdown, it wasn't so bad. But now we're coming out of lockdown, we almost feel like we've got to be doing this.
Even people who don't have our illness or illnesses, I bet they felt that pressure last week as well.
Because I spoke to 4 people yesterday who were suffering with burnout, and they didn't even really know about it, and like adrenal fatigue and just
wow.
And it's, I think it's something that we really need to take care of, and it's that whole filling the cup up. So have you ever seen that image where you're pouring a cup and there's things spilling out, and you need really to manage stuff, but emotionally as well as physically, and it's tough. It is tough. But with these illnesses, like me and you, we haven't let the illnesses control us.
No.
We turned it around, and like, we've got to have control of this because we want to live the best life that we can live. And even if it means changing lifestyle habits, or, you know, luckily in a way we do work for ourselves. I don't know what it would be like if we were employed by someone. I don't know if I could go back to a full-time job.
If I'm totally honest, I don't think I could be, because I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now. And I wouldn't be able to be in that industry of 9 to 5. No way. I need to be able to know, like, because if I'm doing a full day, I'm doing a full day. If I'm doing a half day, I'm doing a half day. Like tomorrow, I'm doing a half day. I'm already in my head going, oh my God, I'm doing a half day, and I'm coming home and I'm doing nothing.
Good. I want to see an Instagram picture of you on the sofa doing nothing, or even just chilling out for a few hours at least.
Yeah, because that's what I know I need. Like at the beginning of this week, I felt fine, but I do feel it right this minute. And so I know that that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. But one of those things is, it for me, and I suspect for quite a lot of people, it's quite hard saying to yourself, actually, I'm going to take that break.
Yeah.
Like when I was really poorly and I was in bed bound, and I was in bandaging and I was in and out of hospital all the time, I was restricted from doing everything, right? Everything. And that was for years. And then when I got my mobility and I got to these levels and I was able to do things, there's always in the back of your head, like what happened to me at the weekend, I couldn't weight bear on Sunday on that leg. And so I had to go onto crutches. That for me is a scare point, because I've been on crutches, I've been on leg braces, and I don't ever want to go back there again. And so it takes you back to where you were, and you feel like, oh my God, I'm slipping, something's not working, I need to up my game, kind of thing.
Yeah, but you
Actually,
also
you need to bring it down.
Yeah, and you also need to know, and it's really, really common, and it's finding the acceptance that this will happen, because you can feel great, and the days I feel the best with energy wise are the days that I am really cautious of in the back of my mind, because I know I've got the energy that day to push it. And it took me a long time, even on the days I feel good, to still allocate the downtime.
Yeah.
And it's really tough. And I did it in the past. I would just do too much. I would do too much for 2, 3, 4 days, and then boom. It's called boom and bust in the in CFS world. So you literally on track, doing everything, then that's it, floored.
So when you were diagnosed, so you had did you have these diagnoses first and then lipedema came along?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was diagnosed, I think it was September 2019.
Okay.
So quite recent, but I had dealt with it, I think, since I was 28. So
Right.
I got diagnosed when I was like 33-ish, I think.
So when were you diagnosed with lipedema?
Only in February. So only been a few months.
This year?
Yeah.
Okay. And how has that made you feel?
I had a wobble the first few days. And that was when I wrote down the bit of paper of all the things, like the past traumas and stuff, what people said. And then I just thought, it's similar with the CFS. I was like, no, I'm going to take control of this, because I've got no other choice, really. And I felt really kind of just upset for so many other people that, again, don't know about it, and have been on the similar journey to me with weight loss, and similar journey to doing all of the diets, restricting the food, missing out on parties, missing out on afternoon teas, and going out and not drinking, going out driving and coming home early because I didn't want to have too many calories. I'd like my whole life of restriction because of this condition, and now I've loosened off a bit, quite a lot, to be honest. I no longer track my food. I move to how my body's feeling that particular day. I rarely drink alcohol anymore, because I know that just sets my anxiety off as well. So it's like a not really that great for me, not great for most people. But it's I had a wobble, but then I kind of thought, no, I'm gonna make this good. I'm gonna carry on with the strength training, and I'm gonna, if anything, it means that I can't. Well, not I can't. It means that I'm not going to do any running anymore, because I kind of lost love for running, and apparently running's not that great for lipedema.
No, it's not.
And high intensity stuff. No.
All high intensity activity is sort of prohibited within the lipedema world. Low impact is what we look at.
Yeah.
Swimming, cross training, bike. Like there's a bike right here. So cycling. Strength and conditioning.
Yeah, and some people I've seen do like dance stuff, just general movement, or chair yoga and stuff like that. And
yoga, Pilates, all of those things
yeah,
are really good for movement. And it's, at the end of the day, it's moving the lymph. It's getting your lymph moving. And that's what I strive to do with everybody who comes across me. It's a case of, you need to get that lymph moving. Within my technique of work, it is opening the lymph most of the time, so that it's open for people to so that once it's open and they're using that with movement, depending on what movement that is, but then they start feeling it and they can feel the differences happening. Lipedema it doesn't have to be a progressive illness, and that's one thing that I've definitely seen over the amount of clients that I have treated. For some people it is progressive, but I think there is prevention in it being progressive. It's just a case of finding what works for you. I think you have to tailor these things to fit your lifestyle, your body. We're all made up of different genetics and DNA, and we're not one size fits all. So we have to figure out what works for us. And I think
for me,
with all other aspects of illness as well.
And for me, working in the fitness industry, you're viewed as your body. You know, like there's some like trainers out there and people and everything who are genetically have got the body of a personal trainer.
Yeah.
You know, and I would be working in the gym still feeling like quite self-conscious because I held all my weight on my bum and my thighs. And no matter what I did, the hours I spent training, I was still never, you know, and people would comment on that. They'd be like, oh, you're training so much, but why, you know, why are your legs so big still? And I got a comment, I was in the gym doing some deadlifts at like a weightlifting place, and this bloke was like, oh, you shouldn't be lifting heavy because your legs are big enough. And, you know, and it's just like, you know, and this is all before I knew I had the condition. And yeah, I think so many people just say flippant comments, but when you are struggling with like body dysmorphia and you're doing the best you can, you know,
I think that's one of the biggest things that is within this community is body dysmorphia.
And when you suffer with that, because no matter how small I got, it was always held in my legs. But then when I was small, my cortisol levels and my adrenal glands and everything was just like through the roof, that I was so stressed, I still held it all on my legs anyway.
Yeah.
So now I'm bigger than what I was when I was at my smallest. I wasn't healthy back then. I did it in an unhealthy way because I wasn't eating enough. My hormones were all over the place. And I'm much happier now in the whatever. I don't have scales. I never weigh myself anymore.
No.
You know, it's just I don't do any of that.
I don't
weigh my clients.
I don't own scales. I don't see the point. I do a lot of measurements. I see myself go up and down the week before my monthly and after my monthly, but I see that in measurements. I see that with clothes. I don't need to be defined by a number that isn't my number. Yeah. And that's what I try and tell people. You are not your number, because no matter what in this illness, you are going to weigh heavier than you look. So do not define yourself by a number. Don't fight yourself to get on the scales, because it's not worth it. Life is way too short to be literally living day by day by a number and defining yourself by that, and then punishing yourself because you don't look like the person in Instagram, or you don't look like that person in the gym. I, for a good year, was crucifying myself because I was training and training and training. This was 2019. I was training and training and training. I was crucifying myself, being around different people who were training, constantly having to turn around and say, oh, I've got an illness. This is the reason why I'm like this, because, you know, I can't get the muscle definition because I've got an illness. I was constantly saying that, and I caught myself doing it over and over and over again because I was so hell-bent on, why am I not able to have what they've got? And I had to step back from that feeling and recognize they're no better than you, you're no better than them, and you will eventually get where you want to go, but it's going to take more time. I don't believe for 1 minute that I can't get to a certain level. It's just going to take me more time.
Yeah, and it's the finding the acceptance in your body of
Mm.
where you're at the moment, whilst dealing with the CFS, the fibro. You know, it's that's another completely another battle to deal with. You know, as
That's why I
well.
do a lot of like meditation and mirror work and
Yeah,
things. So all of those, even going to work in the morning, I'm telling myself stuff in the mirror because I know that I have to walk outside and I have to be, I need to be that person that I want to be. I want to love Karen. And for years I didn't. I put the girl down, like, and I feel sorry for the girl, for the Karen of 2 years ago and the Karen of 5 years ago. I feel sorry for her because that person was so damaged and didn't realize what was going on, that the person now has to take control of that, and that's exactly what I'm
exactly.
doing. And I will not ever let these illnesses take me down. They just will never take me down, because it got me once before and it won't happen again. But you have to learn how to live with them. You
Yeah,
have
and
to
manage
be,
it.
you have to be kind to yourself and have understanding with yourself. And I'm my biggest culprit. I can be hard on myself but tell everybody else to be kind to themselves, because you do, that's human nature, you do those things.
So, I've got a question for you. With your weight loss, so when you lost weight, were you kind of congratulated by other people on the weight loss?
Yeah.
And then when that stopped, how did you feel? Like,
um
because you're at like your maintenance weight now, aren't you? You know, like you say, you focus on the fitness, and because I went through it. I had years of people going, "Oh my God, you know, you've done so well, you've done so well," and all of this, and you know, you look great, you look great. But then once I hit my maintenance, all that stopped. But if for my head, I was like, I wanted more of that acceptance from
there's
other
always
people.
more of that acceptance that I think that we're striving for. And I think for me, I think for me, it's more of a case of the amount of work I'm putting in. You can see somebody who doesn't have our illnesses put in a meek amount of work and get the most out of their body, right? And so we put in 20 million times more work, and we work through those muscles and we try and do what we can do. And I know, like, anybody will tell me you look athletic and you look strong, but there's that part of me that's like, yeah, but if I could maybe lose X amount. And so you have to step away, you have to step back from that feeling
Mm.
and concentrate on being the person that you are right now. So those things that I used to hear from people saying, "Oh my God, you look amazing," or "Oh, you look like you've lost so much weight." Yes, there are days where I feel like, why hasn't that person said anything to me? But then I think that's natural. And then I think to myself, well, why would they constantly be saying that to me?
Yeah.
Why do I need to keep hearing those, those acceptances? If I accept myself, then they accept me anyway. So what does it
Yeah.
matter?
Do you know, and I think I've got to that point now, and I don't know if it's because the recent diagnosis has got me there, but when people comment on my body, like family, you know, or some people I see, friends, whatever, it really gets to me, and I'm just like, you know, oh, I don't know, like if they say something, comment anything, I'm just like, well, you know, I am eating, and you know, I like this and that, because I think because I've got that balance now, where I had a restrictive relationship with my food, or I would say orthorexia. Um, or, you know, I had a lot of real disordered traits, but living in a bigger body, no one ever saw that.
No.
And I've overcome that. But when people comment now and they comment on my body, and I just get really tense about it, and I hate it because I want people to see me more from what I am. But my whole life they've only seen me for weight loss.
Yeah.
That's the real thing I think I'm just working on at the moment, and I need to find out the answers,
I
what to
was
say
right
to
up at the
people.
top end of the scale. I mean, I'm just looking at myself now. I see, I literally just put my arm up and I could see my muscle. That's ridiculous. So, so
You got more muscle than me because I've been doing too much yoga.
and I just literally saw that and I was like, oh, okay, hello, you're transfixed. Um, I was at the top end of the scale, like literally at the top end of the scale at 26 stone. and come all the way down. And you like, for me, this is where the body dysmorphia thing comes in. I can still look in the mirror some days when I'm really bad, and I can see that person.
Yeah.
And that is where this disease takes you. And that is why I don't want scales, because the moment I step on those and I see a higher number than I want to see, then the old Karen's coming back.
Yeah.
And I don't want that. I don't need her. And she doesn't want to come back, because this Karen wants to stay, because the Karen of next year is going to be a ton better than what the Karen is of this year. So I nearly swore. But I don't want to cause myself any more damage than what I've already got going on within these illnesses, and what I've got to control on a daily basis. Because it is a case of getting up every morning. Like for me, I will get up in the morning, my legs are stiff. So yeah, it's a straight, like, oh my God, okay, trying to get them moving. There's
like a rusty old spring, aren't you, getting out of bed?
Yeah,
and like...
it's awful. It's bloody awful. I hate it. Like, you see people just go, la, and I'm like, no, that doesn't work for me. I have to struggle. So I get up and I get out of bed, and I can and I do the little exercises that move my ankles around, and
I'm doing it now.
Knees, yeah, get my knees going, everything. And then you start moving, and then I'm thinking, right, okay, the next thing is I'll have a coffee, and then the next thing is, right, what am I training this morning? And that's how it goes. What am I going to do before I go to work? Because I'm going to go to work, and I know I need to train something, because the more I do that, the more my body will react to what I'm doing. So you're
See, my morning routine is wake up. I'm trying to not look at my phone straight away. So that's something
I try really hard with that one.
And then I just like, I've got one of these like vitamin D lamps that gradually come on. And so I get up, come down. I really enjoy my coffee in the morning. It's something that I won't give up. Then I actually go back to bed and I sit in bed for a good half an hour, 40 minutes. So my mornings are so slow compared to what they used to be. And that's probably helped me recover as well. And then
for me, I find that if I don't train in the morning, I won't train during the day. Because when it comes to the afternoon, I'm already in pain.
Yeah, okay. So that I don't really train as much as you, though.
I need that fix in the morning, and then you get those endorphins. And then you feel, and my body feels great, and I'm like, okay, I can go have a shower, get ready for work, and then go out the door and go to work. But if you said to me, oh, we're going to train in the evening, I'd be like,
yeah. So I tend to train in the morning, but like I say, I only train 3 days a week. So it's like, then I'd come down. I usually have like a 7 a.m. or an 8 a.m. client. So I usually do wake up quite early, but this is a late night for me. I'm usually in bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock every night. Usually
about 9:30, 10 for me.
I might fall asleep when it gets to 9 o'clock. I don't know what the time is, but I'll fall asleep in 14 minutes. But yeah, no, I have really early nights, and because my sleep management has got to be up there to manage everything. And then I just have slow mornings. I usually have a morning client. I'll go out for my walk. I tend to kind of eat my breakfast after I've done that, just because that's just my appetite. And then I would usually do like my own workout, or some yoga or some stretching, and then I would rest, and then do another client in the afternoon, rest, have a client in the evening. So that's most of my days are like that. I only ever see sort of three people a day.
Okay. So how is your partner acclimatized to this new way of you living and these illnesses?
So he actually went to bed half an hour ago. So it's great, but he gets up for work at like 5:10 in the morning, and he has to have his sleep. It's the weekends are a bit of a struggle, because I tend to fall asleep on the sofa at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. But yeah, and I mean, we haven't got kids, so I have got the luxury that on a Saturday, Sunday, if I need to nap, I'll nap. You know, if I wake up at 6-ish in the morning, potter around the house, go for my walk, come back at 11. If I'm up in bed, I'm sleeping, and that happens probably 4 days out of 7 that I have a little nap. But yeah, he's doesn't really know any different, really. We just work quite well that way, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have a look and see, because I'm seeing something flashing here.
Yeah, the comments are off, so I don't know if anyone's got questions. So it might be, I
Okay.
can't see the comments on mine, but you might be able to.
Okay, so there's one up. How do we know what our limits are or determine them if you have CFS and lip?
I would use if you Google pacing, CFS pacing, spoon theory, that's what it's called. And it gives you the certain amount of spoons for each task throughout the day. And then how I started was that I looked at it and then I calculated how many spoons I was using in my day-to-day life and realised I was way over the top. So I had to change a few things. So, you know, things like getting your weekly shot, get it delivered. You know, even if you can't manage, you know, sorry, I'll rephrase that. Even if you can only manage like a 5-10 minute walk, just start with that. That's how I had to start. 10-minute walk, come home. 15-minute walk, come home. And another way of determining it is if you crash, and then you have to make a diary and figure out what you've done too much of and then try and change that.
So that's me, maybe.
Yeah. And it always happens. I still get it, you know.
You still get it?
Yeah, so every now and then if I just push too hard, if work's too much, or again, like I say, my key thing is the emotional stuff. So that it really drains me. So I have to take time out with that. So now things are opening up with like lockdown easing. If I'm going out at a weekend, say I'm out on a Saturday night, I will spend most of Saturday day just chilling out and doing hardly anything. So I'd say
that's something that I've been doing. That's something that I've been doing with lip and my illnesses and vibro for ages. Like if I'm going out with the girls on a Saturday, then I need to chill all day. I'll lay on the floor with my legs up the wall so that they're not swollen, which is something that I tell everybody to do. And then I would get ready and go out with the girls on that Saturday night. And Sunday,
but then you do seem like absolutely fine when you're out with the girls. Like, there's nothing wrong with you.
No.
You just still be.
I'd still, but then it would be because I would try and be out and ignore it, but
yes,
I couldn't wear the shoes that I want to wear. I wouldn't be able to wear, like, I would need to sit down. I know, like, I'd have to sit. I'm not going to lie. I like the fact that we can only sit down and not move around at the moment. Like, it makes things a lot easier. I have lymphedema in the left leg. So often or not, if it's warm out, I will be the girl who turns around and says, I need a chair because I need to put my leg up. Because if I don't, I swell. And why should I put up with that? And I say this to people all the time. Why should you, like, you can live your life, but you don't have to live your life by your symptoms. So just think about what you're doing and how can you make that feel better for yourself. So one of the things, if I go out with people, and I've done this since 2005, is I will ask for a second chair and I will put my leg up on a chair so that I don't swell. Because if I'm sitting down for like 3 or 4 hours and that's just falling down my leg, my foot won't fit my shoe. I've got a funny story about this.
I'll tell you in a minute. Yeah.
My toes will swell up. My legs, oh my God, I've got cramp. I've actually got cramp.
Where, in your quad?
Yeah.
Same leg?
No. Oh, Jesus. See, this is, maybe I need to talk to you off this.
Oh, bless you. I'll tell you what, it might take your mind off the cramp, but I went on a hen do in Newcastle a couple of years ago. And like Newcastle flight's 45 minutes from Southampton. Flew up there, got into the hotel. None of my shoes fit me for a 45-minute flight. My friend had to go to Primark and get me some flip-flops to wear for the weekend. And this was like 2 years ago, so I didn't know nothing about the condition. So
this happened to me when I went to Greece with my mum 3 years ago, I think it was. No, longer than that, 4 years ago. It was a girls' holiday. It was the first one we were going on, a mother and daughter holiday. We went on holiday, and we got to the hotel and nothing fitted, clothes wise. And I'd done the body coach and I was feeling
Yeah,
great.
I was
And
just about to say.
I'd done the 90-day plan. It was
Yeah.
the first time I was feeling great. I was doing this holiday. I was in my compression, and I got there and nothing fitted. And she had to go up the street and buy those dresses, you know, with a little bit of elastic. And it took 72 hours to get my body back to where it needed to be, just from being on a plane and going into a hot country.
Yeah, definitely great. And I know most people get that anyway, but for us, it's like a whole size. We will go up a whole size. And
I just worn CCL4 compression on a plane. CCL4 is like being in a flipping wetsuit. So you're in a wetsuit, and it's so restrictive. Like, I can't get this message off of the screen. But it's so restrictive that you can't like, if nothing's going to swell, like, put it that way. But it did, and I couldn't get shoes on. I couldn't do anything. And for the first 72 hours, like that 3 days of my holiday, I was just devastated. And I've never had it really happen that dramatic before. But it started happening, and then I recognised what I needed to do, and then from there,
so what are your tips?
You're a little bit nervous of going on. I
was going to say this. What's your tips for that? Because, like,
getting a swimming pool.
I would like to know that, because it obviously always happens to me,
Legs
and
up.
I don't know.
Elevate. This summer is the first. Like, last summer was the first. Last summer or the summer before was the first summer I didn't have major problems in this country, right? Major problems. When I say major problems, I was in compression, but I was almost hiding myself from the sun. Like, so I didn't have any problems. Last year we were in lockdown. There was no real fear of anything. I wasn't going backwards and forwards. But then last year I upped the dry brushing game. This year I'm carrying the brush on me. Everywhere I go, when it becomes in the summer, I will be carrying a brush on me. And if I feel swelling, I will be going into my neck, opening things up and brushing, because I know that shifts it very quickly back into your lymph. And that's what I will be doing. I won't be putting myself through any unnecessary suffering. And like I said, when I go to a place, I want an extra chair because my legs go up.
So that's really helpful. And
when you get off the plane, get your compression off and get the dry brush on there. That would be a tip. And then when you get to wherever you're going, if there's a pool or whatever you can get into, even if there isn't a pool and you've just got to the hotel room or apartment and there's a shower, cold shower, get it on your legs and get that moving as fast as you possibly can.
And usually when you get to the airport, you usually have a drink, don't you? Like, alcohol is usually a thing. Would you say to avoid that because of the swelling and the flying?
Do not drink alcohol on a plane.
Yeah.
So, party pooper, but...
I know, and that's why I think they swelled up so much, because I was on a hen do. So we had drinks at the airport, drinks on the way to the airport, 45-minute flight, and I couldn't... It was just mad. I had Converse on and I couldn't even walk. I had like blisters like when I got off the plane. I was just like, what is going on?
I went to a concert with a friend a few years ago. I went to a concert with a friend in London, and we got there and we were right up the top, and we had to walk all the way up those stairs, and we were stood there for, I don't know, an hour. We didn't stay for the whole thing. When I got outside and I got back onto the train, I said, I've got to take my shoe off. I took my shoe off and all my toes had split and there was fluid coming out of them. And all of that was lymph fluid.
That's mad, isn't it?
And
crazy.
And then I had to walk when we got to Victoria, I had to walk through Victoria Station to back to the other train to go back to where I live. And I just remember absolutely just wanting to cry. I was just literally holding it back because of the amount of pain. That the pain that you feel from that is like heat.
Yeah.
It just explodes. And
Do you know, it
I
explains
was
a lot
down for
actually.
like 2 days with that.
That explains a lot for like stuff I've dealt similar sort of thing. Not as bad as that, but similar things in the past. And like you've just like made that like complete now. You know, I think that would make sense. You know,
Any
but
kind of like, even with heels, I don't know what you're like with heels.
well, I haven't worn them for a year and a half. I don't
No,
think.
I don't think anybody can. Like, I think everyone's going to have to teach themselves how to, if they were to wear them. I can wear little boots. So like little boots, I like, oh God, what do you call them? Like ankle boots, and they've got like a little heel on them, and I can wear it. But if you were to put me in a shoe with a heel on them, can't wear it.
I've got so many
One,
nice
I can't
shoes.
get a shoe on that particular foot
Yeah.
very easily, and it cuts in at the top of the foot. I'm a trainer's person through and through now. Like, since the overpronation thing, so this is another thing. Since the overpronation thing last year, which was one of the reasons why my knee was caving in so badly and why it was hurting. And I'm still in recovery for this. Like, this is not going anywhere. It's better than it was, but it's still not where I need it to be because the damage was already done. When I was looking at shoes the other day, like for the summer, so to be able to go to the shops and just buy a pair of flip-flops and that's it, for you can walk around in flip-flops or whatever, and you can, like, because you don't need support, or I need support in my
Yeah.
shoes, but now I need overpronation support. And now we're looking at 150, between 100, 150 pounds per sandals.
So on my feet are flat-footed. My arches have completely gone on my feet.
So do you think that that might be down to gait, like to do with your legs, for instance? So like the lipedema sits on our muscle, sits underneath the muscle, sits on top of the muscle, sorry. And it's heavy. Your nerves are sitting on top of
Yeah.
that. The reason why your nerves are so painful is because of the lipedema. The lipedema is sitting on top of your knee. So this is one of my biggest things, is that even though the rheumatologist said to me to hold your knees in osteoarthritis and hypermobility and EDS, you need to build your muscle. But the more muscle you build, you could be adding weight to your body. And is that not detrimental to your knees anyway? Because you're adding more weight to your body that your knees and your joints need to hold.
Yeah. And then when it comes to the foot situation, my calf muscles are quite big as well.
My calf muscles. Oh my God. If you've not seen pictures of my calf muscles, like, I've had guys turn around to me and say, where the hell have you got those from? Because that's not like, those are, and God, you've worked hard on your calf muscles. No. Like, I was a swimmer back in the day, so that definitely had something to do with it. But I was carrying around 26 stone worth of lipedema and lymphedema and fluid and inflammation and everything else. And I've said this to a lot of people who suffer with lipedema. Your muscles are going to be big because you were carrying all of that and you needed muscle to be able to do that. Can you imagine if you didn't have the muscle to be able to carry that around? So even though we're being told to add more muscle to hold your joints and do everything else, you don't realize that you're adding to that situation.
And this is why, with the condition, and even with CFS and fibro, even just body weight stuff, it is so good
Effective.
for the.
I
Yeah,
say
so
this all
effective.
the time. When Beth and I work out on a Wednesday, we call it Workout Wednesday, and anybody who wants to join,
Yeah, I've seen some of them.
Yeah, so it's not strenuous, and a lot of the time we are using body weight, and a lot of what I do is using body weight because I don't need to necessarily lift weights because there's already weights in my body. My muscles are weights. So you're using those to keep building your body. Like, obviously you can add to that if you want to within muscle work. and strength and conditioning, which I do. But if I don't have any, like if I'm at work, for instance, and I've got a half hour, 45-minute window and I want to do something, I know I can isolate my muscles, and that can actually help your muscles grow.
Yeah, mind to muscle connection.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. So yeah, we have a lot of muscle in our body. Our calves, I've seen you doing your yoga, like I've seen your videos. I know your I know your calves are big, but your calves are big because of your work within your muscle within your PT for years. Like you're 10
Yeah, and I
years.
used to do competitive trampolining when I was a kid.
Exactly. So
So
you're
that's
10
all
years
calf flexion.
PT, right? You're 10
Yeah.
years of PT.
And all that running, all those miles
Well, there you
running,
go.
like,
So you've got to think to yourself, that's, and then on top of that, the illness. So
yeah,
how you were diagnosed in February, but how long had you been doing that for? Like how long have you
22 years.
had people like being in the gym and turning around to you and saying to you like about your legs? So potentially you've had the illness for years and years and years. So for all of those years of having it and not knowing that you've got it, your muscles have been building.
Do you know what? There's a photo of me when I'm a kid, really, really young, and it's like I came out of the womb with quads. Like, like when I'm like a toddler, my legs are muscular as a toddler. My calf muscles and it's like little tiny biceps. Like
you've got genetics. Well, then that's your genetics.
Yeah, exactly.
So you were destined to be a PT even then.
Yeah, but it's funny because like when I talk to people, some people are kind of scared of personal trainers and wary of them. But yeah,
but a
and
lot of people are scared of personal trainers because they don't understand now.
Yeah,
this is something where I feel the fitness industry needs to start taking advice on, is that not everybody fits their build, not everybody fits their model of what they think should be used for fitness. Every PT I've come across, apart from this one that I'm using now, I've educated in lipedema and these illnesses. And if I've said, like, if they've said to me, you need to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, I can't do that, we will look at it. But I've not just left it there. I've sent them the information. I've guided them to understand. And then all of a sudden you get people messaging you saying, I think my client might have, and I'll get a picture and I'm like, yes, they have. And they'll be like, okay, well, I'll train them like I was training you. Because then they know that they're going to be getting the right training and they're going to get somewhere with this. One of the biggest things for this is super slow training.
And I found that out this last year with, you know, the anxiety I had for not going to the gym, because I'd lived in a gym for so long. And when the gym shut, I was like, oh, you know, what do I do? What do I do? And I managed it. I managed not going to the gym, and I'm not going to go back to a commercial gym. I went to a strength and
you're
conditioning.
now the 20. You're one of 20 people who have now told me they're not going back to a commercial gym.
Yeah. So, and one, because I know the old ego will want to do more than half an hour, and that won't manage my fatigue. So, but I did go to a strength and conditioning gym yesterday. There's no mirrors. It's literally just barbells. Did a few lifts, nothing strenuous, just slow stuff. And even with my stuff that I've got here at home, I've managed to maintain everything over this last year. And it just goes to show that it does work. Really does work.
I totally believe that there is an opening that potentially me and you need to talk about, but there is an opening for education within the fitness industry towards these illnesses, because I get messages daily from women who want to go but don't know what to do. Or do I know a personal trainer that you've worked with personal trainer, like they'll say to me, you've worked with somebody who's helped you, do you know somebody that could help me? And I don't. Do you know, like in their area, for instance, where they live? No, I don't. Because I think there is an opening to the education for understanding these illnesses and what it means to be trained properly within these illnesses. We can't just go into a gym and be expected to follow a guide that is for every single person.
Yeah, generic.
That just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
And also, I think
it will put you back up. You won't want to do it, and
yeah.
you leave.
And also with the going to the gym, if you're not too sure what you're doing, you probably just do loads of cardio. And really, we need strength
Yeah,
stuff.
cardio is there's cardio that is good, but I was one of those, like back from
Yeah, I was.
the 90-day plan when I did it with Body Coach, right? So when I did that and you were doing HIIT, and actually doing HIIT probably did me no favors with my knees. Like, I can honestly say that, because I remember being in Kinsey tape all the time, and even though I was like, oh yeah, look at me, I'm doing it, and I was constantly having problems with my knees, and I was thinking, how are you supposed to do this? But when I went and I saw Johnny, and I started with Johnny, it's so funny because he's messaged me today, and I've like, it just brought everything back from 2019 when I loved being at Slim Jims in Brighton. And I was looking back at some of that today. And when I started with him, and he introduced to me the super slow training, and he was like, right, Karen, we're going to figure X, Y, and Z out. We're going to do this together. We're going to work out how to work through this lipedema. And we just worked as a team, and it was amazing. And he taught me the super slow training, and that super slow training I have taken with me ever since. And that is something that I always say to people when they say that they want to go and try something new. I'm always like, well, make sure you tell your trainer that super slow training is the way forward. We have a natural 40% deficit in our muscle because of the lipedema. So by having that, and then went out, and then I did the research of perimenopause and menopause, and we get an even bigger deficit in muscle.
Yeah, I know. I was just about to say that, because I see, I don't want to say bad things about anyone, but I see a lot of sort of people encouraging high intensity, full force, boot camp, boom, 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 for women perimenopausal in their menopause, and it's just weight loss. You're just beating your body for weight loss, but there's so much education behind that. We're not only menopause, but also probably 40% of their women have got this condition without knowing, and they've battled their whole life doing this high intensity. They're, you know, perhaps in their 50s, and they're still following a weight loss plan. They're still restricting their food. And you know, I heard something the other day on a podcast. It was like, do you want to be the person in your care home still scared to eat cake? You know, because you don't want to be like 7-year-old and thinking, oh, I still wanted that restriction. You want to live your life with a healthy, happy balance.
Finding a healthy, happy balance. Like, for instance, finding a healthy, happy balance. I have researched high and low what I can and can't have. Like, you know, I'll find an alternative to anything. I'll find an alternative to anything so that I can join in, right? And when it comes to a treat, and this will sound ridiculous, but to have a treat is to have a carb, really. Like, I have carbs when I'm doing a lot of training because of the glucosamine and building that back through the muscle. But I won't allow myself to have a whole bunch of, like, when I say carbs, I'm talking sugars.
All right.
You know, like cakes or crisps or chocolate or any of those things. I won't allow myself, because I know the following day, no word of a lie, Donna, I'll wake up and I will be in a ton of pain.
And that's what I get with the CFS. So I've not really, because I've managed CFS the last year and a half, I do notice it if I have sugar and anything too overly processed. I can have bits of it, but not a lot. But I haven't really noticed the connection with the lipedema, mainly because I've been treating the CFS. But I do notice if I have too much salt and too much alcohol, then the lipedema is worse for me. But that's the only one thing I have noticed.
Are you dry brushing on a daily basis?
No, I'm not.
Right. Like, as of tomorrow, you are.
I'll be honest, I'm not. No, I go through phases. I really, do you know what? I need to treat myself to a new one, and I need to leave it out in my bedroom constantly. Because when I do it, I'll see changes, definitely. But it's doing it every day.
A table of self-care for every morning.
Yeah.
It's there. So when I wake up, it's there. I've got no choice. It's there. And
I'm doing like
I would
once,
do the
twice a
same.
week, but not
But like
regular.
some people turn around to me and say, "Oh yeah," but then I'll go. I've been online. Like I was online yesterday with Beth, and I was dry brushing my arms, and it took me 3 minutes. And I said to the audience, I was like, "It's 3 minutes."
I know, you're right.
And
Yeah.
if you do your
Do you
legs,
know what I need to
if you
do?
do your
Because I
legs, it's
don't
like
work.
5 minutes.
I don't work Wednesday night, so when I see you on with Beth, I need to just get my brush. That should be my
Get your
like right.
brush.
I have done it once with you because I messaged you afterwards, but I need to. Yeah, I do, and I do go through phases where I do it every day, and then do you know what it is? It's the same with everything. You do it, you feel good, you look good, and then it goes off a bit,
Yeah.
you know. Whereas that,
This
yeah,
is like the fascia blasting. So like I was talking about this, I've always been that person that says, like, when it comes to the summer, I'm like, oh, we've got to the summer, we can stay in maintenance. We start again when it gets cold. Because my legs swell in the summer, I don't tend to push myself as hard as I do in the autumn and winter, right? But when I spoke to Ashley about this, and I actually asked a comment, it was actually said, well, why would you stop? Because you need to carry on. And it's the same thing. Like if you don't go to the gym,
I know.
if
But don't drink water every day.
If you don't drink water, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. So I'll carry on with my self-care. And to be fair, the way I use the blaster is when I go in the shower, it's a 10-minute thing and it's done.
Yeah. Okay, this is my accountability from tomorrow onwards. I'm going to be dry brushing.
Okay. So what? Okay, so you're being accountable for that. So I will be accountable for definitely coming home the next 2 days. So I finish tomorrow at 1, and on Saturday I finish at 3. I will be coming home and doing nothing.
Good.
For 2
and
days.
If you get twitchy and you feel like you want to do a workout, do some stretching. And then do your workout on Sunday when you've had those half-day rests.
I've got your videos still, and I've used them a couple of times to be able to do the stretching.
Yeah, it can work, especially if your body's already stressed and running on adrenaline. It's already doing a workout, emotionally, if you know what I mean. So it's like, yeah. Right, we better wrap up. Should we see? We've been on for an hour and a half. I said 45 minutes earlier.
So past your bedtime, it's unreal.
I know.
You'll go to bed and he's going to be like, where have you been?
I know. He'll be out there like fast asleep.
Okay, well, listen, it's been lovely to talk to you. We will definitely be doing this again. I feel like it's something that we do need to bring to the audience, maybe once a month even, just to talk about it. Like, if we are doing what we're doing, we're bringing our accountabilities to this and talking about it, we're actually helping anybody who sees this. So even though there might not be a whole bunch of numbers on here now because of time differences and everything, this will get watched by quite a few people because they want to know how to deal with these things that we're dealing with, because the advice isn't out there at the moment. Yeah, it's been a good chat. I've enjoyed it. I've loved talking to you. And I will probably message you tomorrow.
Yeah, let's switch off now. Let's after this, we'll turn the phones off and switch off. So any messages or anything, I'll get back to tomorrow if any flag up, if anyone wants to ask any questions and stuff.
I won't be answering anything tonight. The only thing I'll be doing tonight is making sure this hits the page. So I will do that and drop you the link, and then you can do what you want with it tomorrow.
Amazing.
All right. Take care
of yourself.
Thank you for being here. Thank the audience for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah.
Take care.
See you later. I'll speak to you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.